Alright. What?
I was going fast, huh?
Yes. We're at White Sands. There will be photography, I promise. But first, my son needs to go down this ginormous hill. Go for it.
Okay. After I... Oh.
That may have been anticlimactic for viewers, but I can assure you it's a lot more fun in person. So right now we're kind of killing some time before sunset. It's about 6:15. We've got about an hour to go. One thing about White Sands that photographically, if you want to get the good dunes, you got to go as far north as you can on the trail. And if you look behind me, you can see this is still quite a popular area. Although the crowd's thinned out quite a bit, but we're going to hopefully hike a little farther and get to where there's a lot more untrodden upon dunes. And hopefully behind me, that way to the north, is where the clouds kind of been showing up lately. So we'll likely be shooting that way. So when there's no clouds in the sky, it makes it a little more challenging. You have to think a little bit outside the box in terms of traditional landscape photographs, but luckily we're here at the dunes and there's a lot of contrast, so we're going to be looking for leading lines. We're going to be looking for these, since this is a white sands, we're going to be looking for harsh shadows and light sand on the other side, so that's going to help take the emphasis off of the sky. We're going to shoot less of the sky too. There's also a lot of great patterns because these are aeolian, so there's lots of wind and there's lots of great patterns in the sand, so there's a lot of different things to look for rather than maybe a traditional landscape shot. I'm also going to be using models, my family, but use what you have. And we're going to do we're going to do a couple yoga shots and some adventure shots, some sledding shots, that kind of thing. So there's going to be a lot more than just the traditional landscape, and that's kind of why I do this kind of stuff and why I go to these places, is because I want to come away with things that they haven't been shot a million times. Even though this is White Sands, it has been shot a million times, so we just got to figure out how to put our own personal twist on it. And part of that for me involves a lot more hiking because I want to get to the less populated spots. So let's get back to that and we'll see what we get once we find less footprints. All right, I got tired of holding the camera, so I put it down. I think we've got about as far as we're gonna go, and we're going to be shooting the sunset over there behind the camera. And I want to talk real quick about focal length. So I'm not going to be shooting with a wide angle on this time. And the reason for that is because there's too much. And the wider you shoot, the more you're going to lose the dunes and to the mountains, and the smaller the mountains are going to become and all that. And plus there's no clouds in the sky. Again, if you've seen my other vlogs, this is a common occurrence in New Mexico, no clouds. And so to minimize that, we're going to focus on dunes, we're going to focus on mountains, we're going to focus on textures, patterns. There's also back there behind the camera, there are people. Here's a picture. So those people are tiny. And that photo is at 100 millimeters on full frame. So when I zoom in even more, all right, so that shot is at 400 millimeters. So I have a really good range of emphasizing putting a person first perspective. There's a few people scattered out here now, and that's really nice for me that I can pick and choose, and I don't have to tell my model go over there, because there's already somebody way over there, and there's somebody way over there, and there's somebody way back there somewhere. So that's really cool. So again, I'm going to be shooting between 1 and 400, and if I want a wider thing, then I'll do vertical and I'll do panos. I have other lenses, but I'm really trying hard not to change lenses out here. So I've got filming with a 16-35. So if I want a wide shot, I'll use my backup body and I'll use 16-35. But here's what it looks like wide. So this is at 16 from this spot. And here is 100 millimeters. So I like the 100 a lot better. For what I want to show. I want to show the adventure. I want to show personal perspective. And to do that, I want a narrower shot. I want a longer focal length. So I've noticed too here that the clouds mostly are going to be to the north. And I think that there are some stuff building up there, and I think we're probably going to get a good sunset. So, but I think most of the actual color is going to be from the north, and then from the west, we're going to be looking at more of dramatic light with silhouetting the mountains. And I'm going to be shooting probably around f/16 for that to get that sunburst too. So I'm going to show the sun bursting and get that nice star effect. And then I'm going to be shooting either to the north or to the south to get the shadows of the dunes and to show that dramatic dichotomy there between the dark and the light. And it's really great with the white sands being, naturally white. Quick geology lesson real quick, because I'm also a geologist. This is actually not sand. All of this, that's actually gypsum, and gypsum is a sulfate, calcium sulfate. And the cool thing about gypsum, for anyone who wants to just come out here and hike, is that it doesn't retain heat like quartz does. So this sand, even though it's like 80 something degrees out here right now, this sand is actually very cold. And we're all barefoot here, so I haven't put my shoes on in days. And that's fantastic, because you go to other sand dunes in the world. I've been to a lot of other sand dunes, and you can't do that. You will burn your feet off. So it's actually really nice being able to walk out here barefoot. Yeah, you can't beat that. Well, it's day 3 now, maybe day 4. I don't really remember. Time has not been my friend lately. But the last time I was vlogging, a few seconds ago for you, would be last night. And we had to cut it a little bit short because unfortunately the park closes at 8 p.m. and sunset was at 7:15, and we were like a mile away from the car. So we ended up having to book it back to the car pretty fast. But we made it out, and we got some good sunset pictures. I really wanted to stay out for some astro stuff, but the only way you can do that, unfortunately, is a backcountry permit, and the permits are cheap. They're like $3, and then if you're military or disabled, like I am, then you get everything for half off. So it wouldn't have been expensive, but there's only like 10 passes a day, because there's only like 10 places, 10 little spots in one area that you can go to, and those fill up pretty fast. So I didn't get to do that. But I got a lot of other good stuff. So today I came back out here to a slightly different spot, more on the north side again, and there is nobody around me, and that's really cool. But unfortunately, it's afternoon, and the sun is just like horrible. Again, New Mexico problems, no clouds. So what I'm doing is I'm focusing on texture today. So I'm just looking at the sand, I'm looking at details. I might do a couple of zoom shots with some people out there. My model's way over there somewhere. And I came out this morning, actually. I got out, park opened at 7 a.m. and I came out, but there wasn't a cloud in the sky. So sunrise wasn't anything spectacular. The light was nice though, so I got some nice golden hour light in the morning. But unfortunately, I couldn't use any models because my models were still sleeping. So now we're just going to do some texture stuff and maybe some more yoga stuff, and then we'll see how that looks. So I'm going to get back to hiking for a few minutes and follow these bobcat trails and see where they went. Yeah, so I just came down that big old hill, and I didn't even hardly leave any footprints. You can barely even see the track. It's just like a smooth, it feels like an escalator or something. It's pretty wild. Well, down here there's some cool playas. lots of texture down there. Might be a little hard to see, but they make for some cool photographs. Lots of really cool leading lines. Again, if you have an interesting subject, they're really cool. I've been here like after it rains and these things fill up, and then not only do you have a puddle, but then you have reflections, and they look really cool either from down low or above. But they're also surprisingly fluffy to walk on. But this is where, when they pool up, the gypsum crystals get back together and have crystal forming parties, and they grow bigger, and then the wind comes and breaks them down and makes new dunes again. So circle of white sands. All right, well, I'm gonna wrap this vlog up. There's not too much more to do out here but hike back and have some lunch and then start driving home. But as usual, I am going to put the images and the video and all the B-roll stuff, the extra footage. I'll roll that here in just a second. And if you like this kind of stuff and you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe to the channel and go check out all the other stuff I'm doing, the other vlogs, the other tutorials, photo, video stuff, nature, wildlife videos, all that kind of good stuff. And if you have any questions about this trip or any photography or video questions, just put them in the comments below and let me know what you think of everything, and enjoy the visuals. And I'll see you next time from somewhere else in New Mexico. Bye.